Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Unraveled. I am Kristen Fehrenbach, the Senior Director of Microsoft Go-to-Market here at Pax8. Thanks for joining again. I do want to make sure that you like, share, subscribe. That way we can continue to get you some really cool info as we go through, because we're already planning out what are we doing this next year. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming to you. So before we get to our guest, I want to go through some updates because we've got a couple of them. I want to make sure we get those dates and deadlines important going now. All right. We talked about this last week, but I want to make sure we hit on this one more time. So legacy migration. Everybody, this is going to be really important because Microsoft is going to start with a Microsoft-led auto migration. It's going to start January 11th. So please get with your account team. I want to make sure that you're working with them prior to this date. Now, it is going to be that forced migration from legacy to NCE. So if you've got those questions, we just want to make sure that this transition is seamless and as easy for you as possible. So just make sure you get with your account team. They're going to go through kind of what does this mean, and they'll help you actually plan it out. Really easy stuff, but that date is looming. Just want to make sure we get that on your radar. Now, there is a Power Platform enablement offering. I am really excited about this, and we are taking a very select few number of partners. Now, there's a couple parts of the criteria. You have to have 2 or less current end customers in Power Platform, but we are letting you sign up for free. This was typically going to be a paid course, but we're really wanting to get more partners involved in Power Platform. So we've got a couple different cohorts. If you're in EMEA, you've got a section. If you're in the US, you also have a section, but we do have a form down in the bottom. And this is typically going to be paid, like I said, but right now we're offering this to you for free. So click on the link down below in the form. It's going to have more information on, what are we actually trying to achieve? It's a multi-step course. And then at the end, upon completion, we're actually going to give you a credit to get started immediately. So please make sure you go learn more. There's going to be some really awesome stuff coming there. All right. Business Premium plus CIS controls. Now, customers upgrading over to Business Premium, you're actually eligible for the free implementation. So please make sure you go through. I want you to read through and make sure if this is something that you're actually eligible for, if this makes sense. If we're going to get you into Business Premium, let's make sure that you're securely using it. So let's align to those CIS controls. And kind of building off of that is the blog that Dom Kirby wrote. So you probably know Dom Kirby from the game, and he works on our professional services team. Wrote this blog, and it talks about Business Premium, just what are some of the challenges that you might face? What are ways that Pax8 will help support you? These two kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to encourage you to, check out that blog. Let's talk about that offering and let Pax8 help you get into Business Premium in a secure fashion. All right. I know we talked a little bit about the legacy migration, but there's more to NCE than what I am going to be able to spit at you during just the first open part of this show. So if you have questions about NCE, maybe you've already talked to your account team, please make sure that you go through and watch last week's episode with Ashley Moretti. She goes through a ton of content and dates and deadlines and kind of different scenarios and what makes sense. Now, she keeps that blog for NCE updated. So even if you just go to Bing and you type in Pax8 NCE blog, it'll pop up first thing. But please make sure that you're checking out all of those resources. Want to make sure that you're ready to go. All right. Well, that is all for the updates today. I'm super excited to bring on Matt and Steve. Let's see. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
All right. Well, Steve, let's go ahead and have you introduce yourself first. And tell us who you are, what do you do here, and maybe a fun fact.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Great to be here. So my name is Steve Brooks. I'm Senior Director of Partner Enablement Experience at Pax8. I joined Pax8 in 1st of February this year. I was previously the CTO at Bamboom Cloud, and we were acquired by Pax8 on February. So now what do I do at Pax8? I mean, we were famous at Bamboom Cloud for all things Dynamics 365, particularly Business Central and Sales Pro. So now my role is helping partners do that, helping partners grow, and yeah, really just evangelizing about all things Dynamics. Fun fact, yeah, good question. It's like a 20-year-old fun fact, but when I was a lot younger, I used to play a lot of rugby, and we were Belgian national champions. I grew up in Belgium, and turns out the standard of competition is not super high, and we were the best.
That is awesome. Thanks for jumping on. Matt, I know that is not your first time on the show, so tell us just a quick intro and what you do here at Pax8.
Yeah, Matt Batterbee, Global GTM Solutions Director, so all things Microsoft Business Applications, leading the go-to-market strategy for that worldwide. And a little fun fact from me, I'm actually on paternity leave right now, so I actually had a baby less than 2 weeks ago. Oh no, 2 weeks today. So yeah, that's my little fun fact for this session.
Awesome. Congratulations, Matt. Okay, if you're watching this, I did not say it was mandatory for him to be here. It is his own free will. But thanks for joining, Matt. I mean, I was really excited to get, obviously, the both of you two on together because this is my Dynamics duo right here. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Steve, I want to come over to you first because you talked about you being part of Bamboom Cloud. But can you give everybody just a little bit of insight onto the actual acquisition and maybe the current path forward with Pax8?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So Bamboom Cloud, we were a Dynamics partner, primarily based out of the US and the UK. We also have a team in Canada and in the DACH region too. And we were very focused on bringing Business Central to SMBs. So we did a lot of work on what we called high volume implementations. So that was taking, I guess, everything that Business Central can do and kind of parceling it up into these fixed price, fixed scope implementations, which kind of massively reduced that cost to implementation. So the whole idea was that even though Business Central as a product can be delivered to, 5, 6, 700 users, we were making it accessible to the kind of the 1, 2, 3 user organizations that were outgrowing QuickBooks, Sage, Xero. So that's really kind of what we're doing here now at Pax8 as well, is making sure that our partners can bring that to their customers as well for those that have outgrown those same solutions.
And it's just been really, really great to get intertwined with everybody from Bamboom Cloud. So it's been amazing to have all those resources. But Matt, I mean, I know that you worked with these guys a lot previously, and we've heard about Bamboom Cloud, obviously. And I mean, when I think the day of the acquisition, you and I actually got on because, I mean, we were amped about it, super excited about all these resources coming to our partners. But obviously, that means that Pax8 sees the value in Bamboom Cloud. But I mean, what does this acquisition mean for our partners?
Yeah, it's huge. And yeah, to your point there, definitely some of my oldest friends in the channel, I would say, I think Bamboom Cloud, or as they were at the time, Cooper Parry IT, was my very first Dynamics partner that I had a conversation with when I was at Microsoft. So really excited to have them on board. So when it comes to Dynamics 365 and the value piece, I mean, I've talked about this quite a lot when it's things like, to a typical Microsoft partner that's not selling Dynamics today. They might be, selling Microsoft 365 and security, dabbling in Azure. That's what we see a lot of. And actually, when you start to add Dynamics 365 into the offering, it drives the Azure consumption. It drives the Microsoft 365 upgrades. It also drives more Power Platform opportunities. So it truly enables a partner to transact across the entire Microsoft suite. And with Pax8 Professional Services, we can really enable that. But now more than ever, that value piece in terms of what Dynamics does is essentially taken steroids because of something that people may have heard about called Copilot and AI. You may have heard of that. I don't know. But because of some of the statistics that I'm seeing, and I see all these great ones where it's, 83% of businesses have AI as a priority. It's a $407 billion market. So no wonder why so many Microsoft partners want to jump on that. But actually, when you delve into even more statistics and kind of go, okay, 83% of businesses want to have AI as a priority. Only 72% of businesses actually don't have any kind of AI strategy. So there's a lot of them that, yes, they want it, but they don't really know how to get there. And some of the biggest blockers around AI is data. 75% of businesses don't trust their own data. 65% use Excel as their data and analytics tool. And then to our professional services team, or previously known as Bamboom Cloud point, 40% of businesses don't even have a CRM system, and 53% don't have a cloud-based ERP system. So when you talk about data being the biggest blocker in terms of AI, actually by enabling your customers with Dynamics 365, this is a great way for them to solve those data issues. Because if they don't trust the data that they're using and it's not safe and secure, then the AI that they're building off the back of it can't trust the data, and you can't trust your AI that you're building. So in terms of the value that this can bring, it's always been big. It's always been, it can drive Azure, it can drive modern work. But now more than ever, I think as well, if you're having conversations with customers about AI, Copilot, now it's about AI readiness as well. Data is the biggest blocker, and Dynamics really does solve a ton of those problems, and also really improves all things security, which, again, a really shocking statistic that I've seen in doing a lot of research around AI readiness is only 4% of businesses have sufficient cloud security for all of their data. So again, there's so many things that need to be done, and I feel like with Dynamics 365 and the professional service we have at Pax8, we can overcome a ton of that. And I want to apologize for throwing so many percentages out there, but hopefully you can just see how passionate I am about this story and what it can do for our partners.
You know that GIF where like he's in front of the whiteboard and there's like all the percentages and like different things coming out of everywhere? That's kind of what it felt like. But I mean, there's so much coming, and that's kind of the exciting part of it, because now we've kind of unlocked this other variable, which, I mean, Steve, you're really in deep with internal capabilities of Dynamics here at Pax8. But can you just kind of explain, like, what else are we doing, and what should partners be looking for or maybe involved in?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think, some of the stuff Matt raised there, that's crucial. And we've been talking about this for a number of years now. I remember talking at an event a few years ago with Rob Pope, who was our Chief Commercial Officer, now one of our VPs here at Pax8. And even back then, this is probably certainly pre-COVID, maybe 5 years ago, talking around how, data is the new oil and you need to get your data estate sorted out. And that was when we were still talking a lot about kind of digital transformation and that side of things. But it's never been more important, right? I mean, everything that Matt shared there around getting the data in the right structure is ever more important if you're going to want to try and put kind of AI and these kind of large language models at the very least over the top of that, because they're just not going to understand what you're asking of them if you haven't got it structured. So I guess in terms of, your question there about what partners should be kind of looking at, it's talking to their customers about what else they have that's still perhaps legacy on-prem. I think if you're in that kind of MSP world, you know that all your customers, it's quite strange, particularly with things like Dynamics 365 Business Central. It's a finance system. Your customers have a finance system. You may not deliver it for them, but they're going to have something like QuickBooks or Sage or some legacy piece of software. Maybe they're on-premise Dynamics NAV or GP, but they've got something. And so I think what I'd encourage partners to start doing, and we've got programs to support with it, but is really start asking questions around what's left, what's left on-prem, what's left that the data isn't kind of working very nicely for them. We hear so many kind of pain points around disconnected systems, manual processes, poor reporting, siloed systems. All of those pain points are very much kind of still in place with a lot of customers, and anything partners can do to try and uncover that and start saying, actually, look, maybe there's a solution, maybe we can help you with it. Let's start that conversation. I'd encourage them to, make that the first step if they haven't done already.
100%. And I mean, as part of the partner enablement team, there's a ton of resources that are coming, and I mean, even some programs to really help people build their internal dynamics. So, I mean, can you give me maybe, I think there's a new program coming. Can you give us like a little
There
sneak
is a new
preview?
program. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. The ProServe team, what was Bamboom Cloud? So we've got professional services consultants, we've got our support team, we've got team now that are solution consultants, so that's working very much with our account team to help partners with opportunities. We got our development team, and of course everyone that was already in Pax8, right? There's already great capability around Dynamics with the teams across the world. So now we're sitting inside partner enablement, which is where my team sits. That is inside the overall partner experience team with people like Paul Hayes, Matt Kiernan, and Vicky Critchley, who was the CEO of Bamboom Cloud. And everything that we're doing there really is around bringing what we knew worked, how we sold, how we won deals, how we kind of implemented them more simply. We're bringing those to partners. So we have a new program called the Scale Up Program. It's in pilot at the moment, looking to launch in GA in Q1 next year. And really that is around kind of taking, like I said, everything that we had, whether that's qualification questionnaires, meeting agendas, the tech that underpins the implementations, all of our IP, all of the backend stuff that automated all of our implementation processes. We're building that into this new program. 4 phases around selling, supporting, and ultimately growing your business. But the idea here is really that you get started fully supported by us. So the concept is that we're here to kind of back you the whole way. We'll give you all the tools, all the tech, all the know-how, all of that kind of meeting content, like I said, all of the battle cards, all of the proposal material, basically everything that you need to, I guess, de-risk that step into Dynamics. Because I said a few minutes ago, go and talk to your customers about their finance system. But I think that scares some partners because they will say, what do you do for finance? And then the customer might say, we've got QuickBooks. Why do you ask? And then how do you take that conversation further if you've not got that kind of finance know-how? So that's what we're trying to give, really, the ability to say, actually, well, great, you're on QuickBooks. Let's get you onto Business Central. Let's get you onto Dynamics 365. And, be comfortable in doing that and taking on that new workload and really kind of supporting their customers. And to Matt's point earlier, selling and supporting more than just that kind of single Microsoft workload. And then ultimately, so I'll stop rambling at you in a second, but ultimately kind of growing from there, realizing that actually there's great recurring revenue to be had in Dynamics. They can go on then to support the implementations. Pax8 ProServe can do the implementation for them. And if it's too complex, if it's a business with some of the functionality in Business Central that we wouldn't do, then we've got some amazing partners through our Matchmaker program, other Pax8 partners that they love taking on the complicated deals. So even if it's not something that Pax8 Pro Services would do, we can still support those partners' customers through the other partners that we have in the kind of the Pax8 ecosystem. So in theory, it's win-win-win-win for everybody, customer partner, Pax8, and the Matchmaker partner too.
It is really exciting because, we're seeing huge growth in Dynamics all the way around right now. And it's kind of like, if you're not going to do it, somebody else is, right? And right. This kind of brings me to that next step of saying, like, Matt, if this partner's maybe not transacting Dynamics right now, there's obviously going to be some ways to get to market faster, right? But like, what are we thinking here? Because like, I don't know if I really want to invest a year and a half, 2 years to skilling everybody and getting ready to do it. So like, what's my shortcut in?
Firstly is partner with Pax8. That's got to be step one. I feel like with everything that we have with the professional services team, I always speak very highly of Steve, Vicky, everyone from the Bamboom side of things. But with that amazing caliber of talent that we have at Pax8 to really support, and you've just heard about the Scale Up program, which I'm really excited about. Partnering with Pax8 is going to really enable any partner to go to market. It's so much faster when it comes to Dynamics 365, and in a way where we're calling it no cost profits. Instead of that whole, like you mentioned, 18 months, 2 years investment of building a practice, we're really streamlining that. And then with our professional services team, with the training that we have in Academy, we're really enabling partners to go to market really quickly. Even not just using what we have, but even encouraging partners to use things like digital marketing content on demand from Microsoft their marketing tool, their messaging. They can upload their list, and they've got a free marketing tool with all the right messaging that they can go to market with Business Central, Sales Enterprise, whatever they want to go to market with. So, we're using the best of what we have, but then also using the best of what Microsoft have. And we're enabling partners to go to market like the next day that we have a conversation with them, as long as they've got the time to do that sales training in Academy. They're bringing us opportunities, straight away, pretty much after having conversations with their customers. And without going into too much detail on this, but with the Cloud Ascent propensity data as well, we're enabling them to look at their existing customer base and know exactly which customers to go and target with which messaging at the right time. So the conversion rate is so much better as well. So to Steve's point around that kind of confidence issue, we can deliver that training, but then also we can help them target the right customers so they can go in even more confidently and have the right conversations and convert. So yeah, there's a lot that we're doing to really make that a simple few steps to go to market with Dynamics 365.
So before I ask any other questions, I mean, not enough partners have heard about Cloud Ascent. And can you give me just like that 20-second pitch and where partners can go to learn more about it?
Yeah, so we actually have a training course in Academy. So you can go, if you're a Pax8 partner, you can go into our Academy, you can check that out. It's a 30-minute course. And not only do we provide you with the training, we also provide you with a dashboard. So the propensity data is great, but learning that you have, 18 act nows in Business Central doesn't really tell you much. So what we do is put a monetary value to that and really help you target that. So you can really understand the annual recurring revenue or monthly recurring revenue opportunity in your existing customer base. And on average, and I kind of think this is a UK statistic that I was looking at, so I apologize, but it's pretty much the same worldwide, but it's around $250,000 worth of annual recurring revenue opportunity that sits in Cloud Ascent on average for Pax8 partners. So huge opportunity without even going and adding a single customer. It's cross-selling, it's upselling, and Cloud Ascent enables you to do that. And with the Pax8 support and dashboards that we're providing, we're making that step even easier to go and look at that data, analyze it, and then use it.
I said 20 seconds and I feel like you hit the fast forward button. You were like, I'm going to get this whole spiel in. No, I really love the Cloud Ascent data because, I mean, it's letting partners go talk to people that they already know and have relationships with and just expanding from there. So I think that's great. And Matt, I know you talked a lot about the AI readiness, and I want to throw this over to you, Steve, just because you were so deep into that dynamics layer. But there's a ton of talk about Copilot. There's a lot of talk about AI readiness. And I mean, there's some really cool things that are going to be offered in business applications in particular. But is there anything that like catches your eye that you're like, this is a game changer? Like, this is what I'm really excited about?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, we've tried some of the Copilots that are around already, and some of them are awesome. Some of them are obviously kind of very new. But one of the things that we saw, so I was in Lyon in France a couple of weeks ago for Directions EMEA, which is this kind of massive sort of dynamics conference. And one of the things that Microsoft teased there is, so there's already a Copilot for Business Central, and it does some cool stuff. It generates marketing descriptions for products, and then you can kind of push them live to Shopify. There's brand new coming out is a Copilot that improves the bank reconciliation process. These are quite small individual things. For the people that do that stuff already, they are big time savers. But I think the really exciting thing is when we can get to something towards maybe not like a kind of general AI for everything, although I'm sure Microsoft are working to have, the Teams AI talk to the Outlook AI, talk to the one in Dynamics. But Microsoft teased this video in one of the keynotes saying that they showed a clip of somebody kind of interacting with the Copilot inside Business Central. And it was this kind of completely sort of natural language conversation, like, show me how many of this product we've got in stock. And then, okay, are there any orders that we can bump further down the line to satisfy this order because I want to make sure it goes out the door quickly? When we can get to that stage, and it feels like, that's already in development with the Microsoft team, where we can get to that stage where actually you just say, this is what I want to achieve, go ahead and pull all the data towards me. And then I basically just need to review it and hit execute. That was really exciting. And the fact that they're working on that was was really cool, because it's those sort of, I guess, insights into the data, rather than just saying, speed the process up. It's actually kind of taking that one step further and really kind of bringing insights into the data and saying, hey, have you thought about maybe delaying this order because we're going to get some new inventory in here and you'll be able to satisfy that anyway. You can do all that stuff in Business Central, but you have to understand all of the kind of the planning and the complexities around kind of, inventory balancing and so on. So being able to kind of de-skill how to do those more complex functions in the program, yeah, that's super cool. I'm excited about that for sure.
And I think specifically for SMB, like, you've got to think, like, these small business owners, like, there might not be as into the weeds of the planning and the numbers and the this, but like just being able to type in like, hey, can I bump this one to, and like have that real conversation, kind of like you're just talking to your assistant. Like, I can see where SMB might really get on board with this.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think we've been waiting for something like this to come along, because you're right, those bigger organizations, they can have somebody dedicated to data, dedicated to planning, data, dedicated to managing kind of individual areas in the business. But small businesses, they have to do everything. 1 minute they're phoning the suppliers, the next they're dealing with payroll, the next they're dealing with, paying the energy bill or whatever it is. So they really are asked to kind of wear a lot of hats. And so anything that can kind of say, actually, let's help manage this sort of the operations better and give you that insight, I think that's going to be very, very welcome. And ultimately, I mean, this is about, profitability. This is about cash availability, anything like that, where you can make a better decision for your customers, but ultimately, perhaps hold less inventory or get paid quicker or whatever it is. That's a massive win as well for small businesses, where cash can be tight. So yeah, you're absolutely right. All the more relevant, I think, to small businesses, and all the more reason, I think, to start thinking around, actually, what can my system start doing for me, rather than it just being used to kind of process invoices.
100%, 100%. Now, okay, so we talked about, we've talked about class data. How do we already talk to our partners? We've talked about some scale up programs. We've talked about a couple of these different things. But Matt, let's see, there were some changes. I mean, you were on paternity leave, I know. So even if it's just the quick overview, because I know you still read it, there was some changes that happened with incentives. And it's exciting for some of our partners. So can you give me just like that quick high level, and I'm sure we'll go into more detail in an upcoming webinar and all of those good things, but just a quick little, like, why is this good?
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, you are right. There is no good time to take time off from the Microsoft world. Just before this session, someone was like, oh, Bing Chat Enterprise, that's changed now. There's all these incentive updates and things. So it's always fun keeping up with Microsoft when I take time off. But yeah, there have been some incentive changes. So just to give you a bit of a rundown on that, and I would recommend everyone go to Partner Center Announcements. If you just search for that in Bing or any search engine, it will come up, and you can look at the latest ones in November. You scroll down just past halfway, you are going to see business applications, because there's some of them that it goes into a lot of detail. So for example, the BizApps Pre-Sales Advisor, they've made some changes to differentiate SMC and enterprise, which is great. You really need to delve into the detail to understand how that's going to benefit you. So make sure you go and read into that. They've also retired the OSU for Dynamics 365, and all the funding is going to move to post-sales activities. With regards to Power Apps and Power Automate, what they've essentially done with the Power Platform incentives is removed customer insights and Power BI to focus in on the core the core Power Platform solutions. So that's Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, and Power Virtual Agents. And conversations that I have with Microsoft, you can see there's a clear focus there. Our progression with Power Platform program that Kristen, you announced at the beginning of the session, really focused in on those core ones as well, and we're working with Microsoft on that. So it's good that the incentives are kind of matching that story as well. In terms of for CSP, essentially there's a huge focus on customer ads, which is no surprise when you even look at how you attain a solutions partner designation. Net customer ads, growth of customer, all those things really help you achieve those solutions partner designations. So really the investments you'll see are very similar there. And there's also a shift from Power Apps and Sales Pro, those were kind of the core solutions were getting added incentives. Now it's shifted to Business Central and Sales Enterprise, which I'm really excited about, especially with our professional services team. But then also for what we see, even in SMB, I know they call it Sales Enterprise, but actually the average deal size for Sales Professional and Sales Enterprise was always exactly the same. It was just, does the customer want added functionality now, Copilot AI, all these great things that the enterprise solution brings for that small incremental cost of the licensing. So there's definitely a more focus on there. So there's a bit of a high level, but I recommend everyone go to Partner Center announcements and you'll be able to read into all of those in much more detail.
Awesome. Matt, I know that Microsoft continues to change, so thanks for staying on top of that, because I mean, I know when the incentives started changing, I was like, uh-oh, Matt, just so you know. So thanks for staying on top of that, because I mean, more money in the pockets of partners, I think is great. Yeah. Steve, I think we have time for one more question, because I think this is important. And I know that typically some of the Microsoft Dynamics program requirements are maybe a little steep, right? Like you've got to be already so big to maybe qualify to be in a program. And we talked a little bit about the scale up program. Now, like, what are the requirements to be in this program? Like, do you still have to be transacting a certain dollar amount, or like how do I know if I qualify if I'm a partner?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. And, we want to make this as open to all partners as we can. So realistically, the only ask is that, you're committed to doing it. So there's no minimum spend, no minimum size, no minimum kind of customer amount. If you have, gone ahead and got your Cloud Ascent data, I guess that's the ask. Like, Matt said there, go and get your Cloud Ascent data. There's some amazing content in Academy. There's some amazing content available from the GTM team. We just ran the boot camps in North America this week and in EMEA last week. So if you have your Cloud Ascent data ready, then, that's the criteria really. And we can kind of get you registered for the GA for the program in Q1 next year. And yeah, really start uncovering that opportunity in the base. So yeah, no barriers. We just want to make it, as easy as possible to start transacting that new workload.
Excellent. That is really exciting. Okay, guys, I really appreciate your time. It was funny. Somebody on LinkedIn before we got started, I think it was Mark, who's saying that he hears Dynamics in a British accent. And I didn't realize that I also do now. So thank you both for that. And we're going to have you both back on here soon.
Love to.
All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It has been a great show. I mean, we're going to continue to demystify Dynamics because we have an awesome team that backs it up here at Pax8. So thank you for taking the time tuning in today. Next week, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health and unplugging, why that is so great for you. In the US, we have our Thanksgiving, so we're going to take some time. But then we're going to be back the week after to talk about the updates to Copilot, which was being Chat Enterprise. We'll see you then.